Before I went to Egypt, I had no idea about some of these things I'm about to tell you. I wish that someone had told me before I went. So in this video, I'll tell you what you need to know. Number one, you should already know this, but you need to get your visa in advance, and you can do that online, and I'll leave the link in the description below. Number two is to beware of airport scams. So when I arrived to the airport and I picked up my bag at the conveyor belt, a guy took my bag off me and he was like, "I'm your driver." And I was thinking, is he my driver? Because I thought my driver was outside. And so I went to my brother, I was like, "Is this our driver?" And he's like, "No, our driver's outside." So the guy, like, even though I had a driver, I nearly fell for the scam, honestly. And I'm sure that loads of people fall for it. And anyway, be aware. I would recommend actually booking a driver in ahead of time so that you know who's coming for you, because you don't want to be taken to some random place. Like happened to us one other time. So this is another tip. If you're booking at Uber, which we used Uber all the time, you can use Uber, it's fine. You can get a taxi, but you want to negotiate the price up front because they will rip you off, honestly. So if you get an Uber, sometimes they'll take you to their friend's shop. Even though you asked to go somewhere else, they'll say, "Oh no, you can't go there, you've got to go here first." And then they did that to us. And they took us to the shop, their friend's shop, with the place. I wouldn't ever buy any of the things. I don't need anything. I'm a bit more minimalist, so I don't really buy a bunch of souvenirs or anything. I did buy an Egypt hat, but that was, I don't even know where the hat is because I think I might have left it. But otherwise, I don't really buy anything. And I didn't buy anything from that shop anyway. But then they said, you need it, because we were going to the proper Egypt where the locals live and we wanted to see what it's like. And they were like, you need a guide, you need a guide. We didn't need a guide, but they just hounded us and gave us this kid to walk around with us, which in the end we ended up paying him off and had him leave, which was fine. But we shouldn't, I'm saying be aware of these things because it will happen if you're not careful. Well, we were careful and it happened to us anyway. So that is definitely something you want to be aware of. So number three, hotel scams. So our hotel, we get there, we go to check in. We had booked a 2-bedroom villa. So when we get there, they said, "Oh, your 2-bedroom villa isn't even available because we're remodeling it." Heck, now you tell us. So we get there and they offered us this studio place with 1 bed and a sofa. And I'm staying there with my brother, right? That's why we booked a 2-bedroom. But they offered us this rubbish room that's not going to work for, it wasn't very good. So anyway, we stood our ground and we ended up getting something good. I got my own apartment, he got his own apartment, and it had an adjoining door. So it worked out perfect, but it didn't work out perfect because, it should have just worked out how it's supposed to be. But our place was actually not even, it was just knocked to the ground, to the floor, they said. They hadn't even built it. It's weird. This other lady in a hotel had a worse experience than us, actually. They had given her this rubbish room. She took it because she was so tired. So she went into her room and she wanted to have a shower because she had travelled all day. And she steps in the bathtub and paint was on her foot because they had painted the bathtub and it hadn't dried yet. So she couldn't even have a shower in her own room. So she had to switch rooms again. And then the other room was something else. And I don't know, it was just a disaster. So be aware of the hotel scams. They will try and scam you into this rubbish room that you didn't even book. So just stand your ground. That's what we did, and we ended up getting a decent room. But we will say that if you're thinking of booking, like we booked a 5-star hotel, but I would say it was not a 5-star. It would more likely be, in our world, like a 2-star. It was really not very good. So if you're thinking of booking a 3-star hotel or something, it's probably not going to be a 3-star, just so you know. My next tip is about tipping. So don't do what I did, because in hindsight, I would definitely do it differently. I tipped really pretty good right away, but then the hotel staff recognise you, and then everywhere you go and you're in the bar, you just wanted to get a drink, they'll just come up to you like crazy all the time, all of them. And they're like, "I want to be your boyfriend," or they'll bring you cake and they'll bring you, "I made you this," and bring you this drink you didn't order, and all these things, and they just won't leave you alone, which some people might like that, to be fair. I don't. I'd rather just have my drink and be left alone. I don't mind talking to people and having fun and stuff, but like the wait staff were just hounding me all the time. So, I'd come down and there's like 12 of them and it was just not good. So I recommend tipping at the end. Definitely recommend tipping because they don't make very much, and you know, the average pay is so low that I feel sorry for them. But I definitely wouldn't do it the way I did. I would tip at the end. So then you will get a nice relaxing holiday, or at least just enjoy your drink without having 5 people keep coming up to you and interrupting you millions of times. So that's up to you though. You might like that. I do not. So this next tip you definitely need to know, because the public bathrooms usually do not have toilet paper. So I always recommend carrying toilet paper in your bag, because when you're in Egypt, you're usually going to get sometime or another a dodgy stomach. That seems a little bit TMI, I know, but you will get a dodgy stomach, I think. I did. And I luckily would carry toilet paper because I knew everywhere I went didn't really have any. When you're in the bathroom, oftentimes there's a man in there asking you for money. So be aware of that, because they're usually there and they show you their phone and they're like, this is my child and I have to support my child. If it is their child, I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. I don't know. But there's usually someone in there. So I don't know if you should tip them or not. I usually did, just to get rid of them, I guess, because it's kind of nerve-wracking. You're in the bathroom and they're there. I don't know. It's weird. So just be aware of it. Don't be alarmed as much, you know, because you know it's going to happen. It happens a lot. So if you're going to proper Egypt to see where the locals live, you're probably highly likely to have a child come up to you and offer you tissues, which, like in my previous comment, you probably want to buy them, right? Because you want to make sure you have some just in case. But I don't know if you should, because like they'll offer you for $1 and that's nothing, right? You know, it's only $1. But then you give them $1 and then you turn around the next minute and there's like 50 other kids asking you for $1. It's crazy. So it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit scary then. Like it happened to us. I was videoing my brother on a time lapse with all the traffic. We thought it was funny. And all these children came up to me. I don't know where they came from, honestly. There was just like so many of them asking me for $1. I didn't even do anything. I was just videoing my brother, but they just came out of nowhere. It's crazy. Luckily, one of the local adults shooed them away, but they weren't going anywhere. Like, I don't know what would have happened if he didn't do that. So just saying, that is something to be aware of. So crossing the street in Egypt is like an extreme sport. there isn't really any crosswalks. You just basically hope that you're not going to die, because the traffic's like crazy. And so you're hoping that the cars won't run you over, but it seems like you just walk and they avoid you somehow. Like it's like you have some magic power or something and they don't hit you. It's amazing. But I just recommend just walking across like normal. Don't run or anything, because then they can't really avoid you. I think they're just used to people walking across the road and they just somehow avoid you. I don't know how. So I think if I honestly didn't have my brother with me, I'd probably still be at that crossing not crossing, because there isn't a crossing. There's just a road of loads of cars and it's chaotic. But I'd probably still be there today trying to cross that road. So I wouldn't recommend crossing the road very often, because otherwise you might not live to tell the tale. So next tip, do not drink the tap water. Definitely buy bottled water. Even clean your teeth with bottled water just in case, because their water will upset your stomach. Camel ride scams. This is a big deal. So if you get on a camel, or you're at the pyramids and somebody says, oh, you want to ride a camel? Oh, cool, that'd be good. You know, you might as well. You're in Egypt. When are you going to go back? So if you do that and you want to, I would recommend negotiating the price up front and not paying them until after you get off, because what they'll do is they'll take the money off you maybe up front, and then they'll make you pay again to get off. So, you know, you can't really get off unless they have the camel bend down. So you might get screwed if you don't, you know, if you hold them. You want to basically be aware. So yeah, best time to visit Egypt is from about October to April, because it's cooler, and the summer you'd probably want to avoid it because it's so hot. If you're like me and you really can't get the vision out of your head when you've seen an animal be treated cruelly, you might not want to go to Cairo, because there's some things that you can't unsee. So if you are like that and you just don't think you can handle it, then I wouldn't go to Cairo. Just don't go there. It's not necessary. You don't have to. Because Luxor is absolutely brilliant. You should just go there. It's nicer. I don't think you'll see as much animal cruelty there than you would if you went to Cairo. So that's up to you. I just want you to be aware of it. So if you're planning a trip to Egypt soon, let me know in the comments below. And if you've been to Egypt, also let me know. I'd love to hear if you liked it, what you thought. And then if you like useful tips or travel content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love it. So hopefully I'll see you on the next video. So I did think that there was a fly. There was a fly. This is ridiculous. I'm going to put this in the bloopers. All right, now I've got to start again. Bloody hell. Okay, that brings me to my next tip. Tipping. That sounds weird. My next tip, tipping. And whoa, there's a fly in here. Christ almighty. Ah, can't get rid of it. All right, stay.